First of all, I have to say, so there's no microphone, but because I'm coming of a big mouth, you got my mouth instead. So I apologize if it's a bit too loud. If I'm still going too loud, let me know, I'll put it down a bit. Now, the first artist is all the way from Manchester. Okay, next door to Preston, I'm learning. I'm new to the right, he's a self-styled poet, and he said his poetry speaks for itself. And that's it. I'm going to say no more because that's all he said to me. So without further ado, can you please stamp your feet? Clap your hands. Reece! Please don't trip. It's like an obstacle course. So how are we doing, guys? We doing good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to get into it. Made you look. Made you stare. A drunken barber once cut my hair. Patchy head, hairline bent. Last night he was on the bend. Saturday soup simmered seductively. Cho-cho, sweet potatoes and pumpkin seeds. Awake from our slumber we enter. My grandma's kitchen is her haven. She slapped my hand. It never even reached the ladle. Getting up from the stool beside the table, she puts a tenner in my hand and says, "Wise? You better cut your hair because it's growing in line like sissy girl. Time to get it trimmed." Me and my brother exchanged grins, knowing that time would come again. Making our way down Broadfield Road, our stroll of shame now underway. Making mockery of misfortune massacres, our anecdotes always conjured laughter. And we crossed the road at the Beehive and it was fried with punch despite its time. So, we arrived at the barber's, but the shutters were closed. And then Corby the barber leaned out of the window with his bare chest exposed. Coming down the stairs, this unfamiliar, pretty, blonde woman stood in the frame. So I suppose he did always say, "Yeah man, I can fit 101 potato on my plate." He finally arrives and his breath smells like Appletons. I get flashbacks of the playground. "Yeah, Reece, you ever cut your hair? Must have Parkinson's." I sit in the seat, and half an hour in, this routine haircut's now becoming a farce. And you know it's not a good thing if your barber says, "Oops, sorry, my bad," and then ras. On my way home, I sat on the wall and cried. I asked for a night tick, but instead, I got a short back and snides. Thank you. Part of two amazing collectives, Young Identity in Manchester and also Inner Voice. And it's a real privilege to be able to share words with you guys today, and also to work as an artist with amazing young people to give them advice and see them grow. So it's not often I actually get opportunities to perform, so I'm going to run into another one and try and get as many poems out as I can. This poem is called Zinc Roof, and it's part of a bigger group piece that I do with Inner Voice. And it was put together as part of a commission to respond to the works of Kai Miller. If you don't know who Kai Miller is, amazing Jamaican poet. He was recently awarded the Forward Prize for Literature. Check him out, and this piece is called Zinc Roof. Like crosshairs for the moon, my metaphors shoot up like meteors and hit the core with deadly precision. Collapse the veins of your sanity like a heavy addiction. I leave nerve ends tripping over the algorithm of diction. Didactic, the tongue of a politician with slick vision and the charisma to match it. My manifesto's passionate, but never mixed with violence, because the truth is at its brightest in darkness, and at its loudest in silence. And though this Lexus is labeled reckless and my revelation's dirty, I know you'll never understand until you too have journeyed, like a tear in the time's continuum for the sleepless. I've absorbed the oars and laws of life's teachings wisely, so I took the system to school, made their examinations revise me. Demise likely. I came from unworthy roots. They gave me a pen to write a suicide note, but I used their ink to burn through the zinc roof. I've been through injustice, so do I persecute evil. Broke the collarbone of arrogance when I drop-kicked his ego. My humility lays the table for ignorant fools. I break bread from my enemies because I'm filled with the truth. Thank you. This next piece is called A Letter for Tamir Rice. For anybody who doesn't know who Tamir Rice is, he was a 13-year-old boy from Cleveland in the USA who was murdered by the police. And this is my response to that. It's called A Letter for Tamir Rice. When I first heard of your assassination, I was already spent on grief for Emmett, Amadou, Oscar, Eric, Trayvon, Renisha, and Mike. My well of mourning is running dry. I'm drawing on the coppers at the bottom of the wishing well. It's hard but necessary to be reminded so frequently of how expendable we, this strange fruit, truly are. And you left your house that day armed with an arsenal of ambition, loaded with hope and ready to explode with potential like fireworks across the Cleveland skyline, commemorating the new year that you weren't allowed to enter. And I remember what it was like to be a 12-year-old black boy. It was hard enough to keep your mind clear, without being burdened with the knowing that from birth until death, you will live your life inside the eye of a crosshair. Potentially just 28 hours from death by police or death by racially motivated murder, constantly shrinking yourself to fit into inhospitable places, governed by people who think they're doing you a favor by letting you breathe. And it's wrong. You had to adjust to life in a world where the humanhood of blacks must be asserted daily. This is not the peace of justice Dr. King and his generation marched in solidarity for. And it's unfair that the media will question your skill at living cautiously, rather than your right to live happily, but will not probe why one of your murderers was a frontline police officer, despite being deemed unfit for policing. The mainstream media will partake in the demonization of your character, and you will be presented as the villain, rather than the victim of a modern-day lynching. The inquest into your murder will be nothing more than perfunctory, and the grand jury will decide that your death certificate was not signed when the 911 dispatcher asked the caller whether you were black or white, not once, but twice. They will not apportion accountability for your killers giving you just 2 seconds to react to their supposed calls of "get your hands up" before shooting you twice in the gut and forcing you to spend 4 of your final conscious minutes in the presence of your murderers, deprived of your right to first aid or the comfort of having your 14-year-old sister by your side. I'm sorry that you never lived long enough to learn that the difference between childhood mischief and presumed criminal juvenile behavior is not the difference between an authentic firearm and an air gun, but the difference between black skin and white skin. Dear Tamir, I promise to write up and speak up until the world and in years to come, the history books speak of your name and the countless others in the same breath as genocide. Thank you. I really need to memorize a few more poems, but we spend all of our time working with amazing people. Let's make some noise for Shirley May. This is my friend and my boss, Shirley May. If you don't know who Shirley May is, she's an amazing poet. She's done a lot of amazing work with young people in Manchester. I joined Shirley's group, Young Identity, when I was about 18, and I'm 26 now, so 8 years later, I'm doing what I do massively owed to Shirley, who runs workshops and is just a great person. This next poem is called Beat Up Black Hindsight, and it's in memory of Rita Josephine Noel, who's my nana. Take a seat, got a space, there we go, good. Beat Up Black Hindsight, in loving memory of Rita Josephine Noel. My name is becoming elusive, and digging makes her tired. So she rotates between son, sweetheart, and mate, but I want to be a grandson again. I want to lose a comb in the sea of her beat-up black hair, share a lemon meringue for dinner, go to Sainsbury's and come back with rubbish, our own yellow-labelled rubbish. I want to thank her for letting us be stupid, and for making my monkey teddy bear the sharpest tailored felt suit in history, and introducing us to rock shandy. I want to tell her that in hindsight, her reggae collection is just as good as my hip hop collection, and that I finally understand the dreadlock Jesus picture on her wall. We are all made in his image. I want to tell her that I remember the day her brother died, and that I love it even more because she didn't let herself cry in front of us. I want her to know that she was a playground legend. Miss Little never picked on us again after her visit. I even heard she installed a panic alarm. I want to tell her that I now know the difference between the West Indies and the West Midlands. And that the world doesn't end when Manchester United lose. I want her to know that her willingness to forgive doesn't make her a stepping stone, but doesn't make her a doormat, but a stepping stone to a burden-free future. I want to be her grandson again. For her to comprehend that Nana Rita isn't a greeting. Rather, it's the heart of a grown man celebrating the sum of who she is and knowing that he has a lot more growing to do. My name is becoming elusive, and she's alternating between son, sweetheart, and mate. But I guess that means I'm still someone to her. Okay, so this next piece was written for another commission. We were asked to open up for Kate Tempest, amazing poet, and this is the piece that I wrote, and it's called The Solace of Sleep. Without warning, an unconditioned mind can catapult dormant thoughts into flight. A free-falling course of subconscious foresight before the sight has been seen or the scene swept the meaning with forensic insight. And sleep is the only place. Behind my closed eyelids are my docile brainwaves. Beneath even my news-numbed compassion, I question, when will the Romanians finally arrive on their masses, take our jobs, our benefits, and our lasses, before John Charles de Menezes gives a riveting TED Talk on why Mark Duggan and Smiley culture will never get their justice. I dare not fight my impulse to satisfy my urges for nocturnal learning, escaping to a private place when the news is too much of a burden, and Snowden's snowing scandals of untruths and midnight caffeine. And sleep is the only place where I land on genius as if by chance or sleight of hand. But I'm too sane to say I've been beneath the nostrils of God, waiting to be breathed on for a second time. The first was for life, but now is to be cleansed of the impurities of this overly trusting mind. And sleep is the only place from which I can wake up feeling more human than I've ever felt, less naive than my next mistake, an appalling shadow of one once so drunk on political rhetoric, circular conversations of benefit cuts and bridging the deficit. I was unable to question which came first, the sickness or the medicine. Craving most a host of lullabies, milky recourse to dreaming, the universe constantly crafting unseen beauty. Eve was conceived whilst Adam was sleeping. And in this world that's spinning with lies, it seems that sleep is the only place where I can uncover truth. Okay, I'm going to squeeze in one more piece. This piece is part of a collection that Inner Voice, an anthology we're working on, that will be coming out later in the year. And it's called 7.5 Instructions to a Dreamer. 7.5 Instructions to a Dreamer. Number 1. Ghosts of living people are not technically ghosts. Number 2. Debrief from a dream or nightmare at your earliest convenience. Number 3. Please, 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 do not pay to have your dreams interpreted. Your stab in the dark is just as accurate and a lot cheaper. Number 4. Exercising wisdom or maturity spoils the fun. Let Bill Withers and RoboCop finish their arm wrestling contests. Number 5. Skills acquired during a nocturnal adventure should not encourage a career change. Number 6. Water pistols are highly effective against the horde of hallucinating clowns. Number 7. Very important. Pinching the colleague who frequents your fantasies will in most cases lead to formal disciplinary action. 7.5. You will awake from this poem in... Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Reece!
So, Reece, while you're on your journey, your epic journey back to your seat, so what? How can we hear more of your poetry? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on YouTube? Let us know.
I'm on YouTube. Just look for Reece Williams. I'm on Facebook. Reece Williams.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter. Reece I Williams.
Oh, Reece I Williams.
There we go. And I'm gonna have a website. So look for Reece Williams in the next week or so. You'll see a website.
What about Instagram?
Nah, I'm not photogenic.
Oh, I'm saying. Next time. I'm gonna say